Hi there. Welcome to Immersion in English. I am Tom. Today, we are going to immerse ourselves in English by reading an article. We will learn some vocabulary afterward. Without further ado, let's get started. Are you ready for the 4-day working week? In 1964, the Beatles sang 8 Days a Week, a title supposedly derived from a chauffeur's complaint about how hard he had to work. There is now growing momentum to cut this particular working week in half, with numerous calls to shift from a 5-day to a 4-day workweek. Although calls for a 4-day week gained steam during the pandemic, this idea was being taken seriously in many parts of the world well before COVID hit. France instituted a 35-hour working week more than 20 years ago. Iceland conducted a series of studies of work schedules from 2015 to 2019 that moved from a 5-day, 40-hour week to a 4-day, 36-hour week with no reduction in pay. These experiments were so successful that over 85% of Iceland's workforce now either works shorter hours or works in a setting where the right to shorter hours is guaranteed. The benefits for workers of a shortened workweek are obvious, but it turns out that organizations also benefit. There is compelling evidence that shorter workweeks lead to higher levels of productivity. Even in Japan, a country notorious for deaths from overwork, shortened work weeks in Microsoft's Japanese operations lead to a 40% increase in productivity. A 4-day working week boosts productivity and employee health, well-being, and satisfaction, so you might wonder why it is not universal. Part of the problem lies in work cultures that celebrate long hours and devotion to work. Elon Musk has long claimed that people need to work 80 to 100 hours a week to effect big changes. He said that he worked 120 hours a week, and employees worked 100 hours a week, while Tesla was ramping up production of its Model 3. Interestingly, many professional employees claim or even pretend to work 80 hours a week. However, their managers cannot seem to tell the difference between employees who actually work this many hours and employees who only pretend to be chained to their desks. There are potential downsides to a 4-day working week. First, organizations which try to get as close as possible to 40 hours of work per week, with 9 or 10-hour workdays, sometimes find that employees do not have the stamina to work more than 8 hours. Some labor laws and contracts call for overtime pay when an employee works more than 8 hours in a day, so a shorter workweek could be more expensive for employers. Congrats, you did it! Now, it's time to learn some vocabulary from this article. But before that, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. It really helps us a lot, because we are trying to make more videos to study English together. Are you ready? Supposedly. Supposedly. Used to show that you do not believe that something you have been told is true. Chauffeur. Chauffeur. Someone whose job is to drive a car for a rich or important person. Turn out. Turn out. To be known or discovered finally and surprisingly. Notorious. Notorious. Famous for something bad. Universal. Universal. Existing everywhere or involving everyone. Devotion. Devotion. Loyalty and love or care for someone or something. Ramp up. Ramp up. If a business ramps up its activity, it increases it. Downside. Downside. A disadvantage of a situation or thing. Call for. Call for. To say publicly that something should happen or is necessary. That's all for today. But before you leave, there is a question in the comment below. Feel free to share your opinion with others. Bear in mind, it's also a way for your learning output. Thanks for watching. Remember to click the subscribe button. See you next time.